Good to see you today. We're going to be looking at Paul on Malta today. Our hymn is called While the Days Are Going By.
There are lonely hearts to cherish while the days are going by. There are weary souls who perish while the days are going by. If a smile we can renew as our journey we pursue, oh, the good we all may do while the days are going by. Going by, going by, going by, going by, going by, going by, oh, the good we all may do while the days are going by.
Appreciate it, Lee. Verse 2. There's no time for idle scorning while the days are going by. Let your face be like the morning while the days are going by. Oh, the world is full of sighs, full of sad and weeping eyes. Help your fallen brother rise while the days are going by. All the loving links that bind us, while the days are going by. One by one we leave behind us while the days are going by. But the seeds of good we sow, both in shade and shine will grow, and will keep our hearts aglow while the days are going by. Oh, the good we all may do. So in Acts chapter 28 is where we are. Verse 1, Now when they had escaped, and this is after the shipwreck, they found out that the island was called Malta. And the natives showed us unusual kindness, for they kindled a fire and made us all welcome because of the rain that was falling and because of the cold. And we'll just pause there for a moment, and it's just a wonderful thing when people are just kind. And here Paul and all these men are, all those on this ship, and they've just been through something so traumatic. And they come upon this island, and we'll talk about the island more here in just a moment. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. New King James uses the word native there in verse 2. This is where the King James uses the word barbarous, barbarians. And it's really just more the idea that they were pretty foreign. They were pretty foreign. And nonetheless, they were kind. And it's a blessed thing to show kindness and to not look for a payback, but to just be kind. And these individuals showed unusual kindness, it says. Read on in the account. But when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, a viper came out because of the heat and fastened on his hand. And so when the natives saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to one another, No doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he had escaped the sea, yet justice does not allow him to live. But he shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no harm. However, they were expecting that he would swell up or suddenly fall down dead. But after they had looked for a long time and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. Not the first time someone thought Paul was a god, by the way. Talks about that elsewhere. But I was just thinking about, they saw the snake hanging from his hand, and then they're sitting there looking at him. And what they're doing is they're weighing the evidence. And of course, when you weigh the evidence, you have to come to the right conclusion. And they don't come to the right conclusion either time. But just the fact that they are observing things. A lot of people go through life and they never observe what's happening. It's just there's no thought about tomorrow. There's no thought of others. There's just a lack of observation. A lot of people, they just go through life with tunnel vision. And these folks, I just appreciated that here they are, and they're seeing things. And let's make this point. What did the miracles always do? The miracles always confirmed the word. And so what I would suggest, and I'm not saying as they were gathered around the fire that Paul said, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here today, and please come while we stand and sing. But what I'm saying is, while Paul was here, and he's going to be here for a few months, talks as it goes on, it happened after the father of Publius. In that region, it's where Publius is introduced, verse 7. There's a leading citizen of the island whose name is Publius. He received us and entertained us courteously for 3 days. It happened that his father was sick. Paul went into him and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. So when this was done, the rest of those on the island who had diseases also came and were healed. They also honored us in many ways. When we departed, they provided such things as were necessary. After 3 months, we sailed in an Alexandrian ship. They're there for 3 months. And so what do you think Paul was doing for 3 months? It speaks about the healing and what was happening. But I would suggest miracles confirm the word. Paul was preaching. Paul preached everywhere he went. It didn't matter. He was interested in sowing the seed and in preaching Jesus. It doesn't matter if it's a woman next to a river praying, or if it's a jailer in the middle of the night, or if it's a bunch of barbarians on Malta. Paul was preaching. They had to come to the right conclusion. And so I would suggest they did. And what I would suggest is, when you look back at the shipwreck, one of the things Paul says after they've been fighting that storm for a long time, he talks about what the angel of the Lord had told him, saying there in verse 24, do not be afraid, Paul, you must be brought before Caesar. Verse 25, take heart, for I believe God that it will be just as it was told me. However, we must run aground on a certain island. On a certain island. And that island is Malta. I think the Lord wanted the gospel to go there. I'm not sure anybody else wanted to go there. But there were people there. And so back to our hymn, there are lonely hearts to cherish while the days are going by, and there are weary souls who perish while the days are going by. If a smile we can renew as our journey we pursue, oh, the good we all may do while the days are going by. You know, when you think about it, I think those folks on Malta needed to hear the gospel. Let's see, and this is Acts chapter 28. I think they needed to hear the gospel. And what I'm looking up is within the account of the shipwreck. I believe it gives the number. At the end of Acts 27, and I thought for sure it gave the number. Yeah, verse 37. And in all, we were 276 persons on the ship. I wonder how many of them ended up being baptized for the remission of their sins. I wonder how many of the Maltese ended up being baptized for the remission of their sins. I wonder how many rejoiced as the days went by for those 3 months. Oh, the good we may do. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.